Hi, welcome from London. This is Gordon Back, the Artistic Director of the Menuhin competition. And I'd like to welcome you all to the Violin Channel Menuhin Competition Festival. Over the next 2 days, we're going to explore some of the best performances and highlights from the competition since Cardiff in 2008. Now, Cardiff was a big move for the competition. That's where we started to go internationally. At first, a tiny step to the capital of Wales. Then in 2010, we did a further step to the capital of Norway in Oslo. 2012, the huge step of going to Asia for the first time, to China, to the capital, Beijing. 2014, to America, to the capital of Texas, Austin. For the centenary competition in 2016, we went to London, the capital of the UK, where I'm right now. And the last competition in Geneva was in the major international city of Geneva, Switzerland. So today we're going to concentrate the stream. We're going to look back at Austin 2014 to the senior semi-final. We heard the most extraordinary performances that day. And so we're going to highlight those actual 7 performances, which the jury had to decide on 4 that would pass to the final. But it was an extraordinary day of music making. And I'm thrilled to say that on my left here, from Los Angeles, I have Pamela Frank, who was the chair of the jury back in 2014. In fact, she still is the chair of the jury and will be in Richmond next May. So hi, Pam, and welcome.
Hi, Gordon. So nice to see you again.
You too. It's great to have you on. And it's going to be an interesting time, I think.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
What are you doing actually at the moment?
Actually, Howard and I were out in Los Angeles in March to do our last stint at USC, and we were planning on 4 days of vacation. Mm-hmm. And so we came to Laguna Beach, and then California shut down and everything shut down. So we've been here ever since. Wow. New York, bad, it became the epicenter. And so we thought, well, we're just going to maybe wait it out here. So I've been doing a lot of teaching and practicing and walking on the beach, being healthy.
It sounds absolutely idyllic.
I know we feel a little guilty having a nice time, but I'm trying to do bad.
You're probably still doing a lot of teaching, all right, online?
Constantly, yes.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I find Zoom teaching just as good and has certain actual advantages, which is that you don't have to pay attention to the time. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody banging down my door to come in for the next lesson. And so I find that I'm going into much greater detail and with much more thoroughness, pieces that we normally have to not hurry through, but there's always a time constraint, and right. This way there isn't. And so I taught all summer, even though those poor kids probably wanted a break. But we had a great time, and I have studio class every week for hours, and I find it really liberating, actually, to have the.
It's interesting how everybody has to adjust to this new world crisis, really.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I think it's really hard for kids who depend on the social aspect of school.
Of course.
But trying to keep it fun and trying to keep it light, and that's why we had studio class all summer, but nobody played a note. It was just to get together,
right,
and talk. You know,
I was looking back actually on when I first invited you to be on the jury, and I'd forgotten it wasn't Cardiff. It was actually the one before in Boulogne-sur-Mer in 2006.
Yes.
Because I'm not sure if you're aware, but Pamela's parents, who are no longer with us, unfortunately, were both incredible pianists, Lillian Kalir, and also, of course, Claude Frank. And that's where I first heard of you when I think you were sort of 13 or 14 or something.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry about it.
It was so exciting to have you on the jury in that first competition, and we sort of got on great and have ever since. And then after Erich Grunberg retired after the Oslo competition, you actually became chair of the jury in Beijing, I think in 12, wasn't it?
was it Beijing or Austin? I'm actually not remembering now, but
I think it was Beijing, actually, 2012.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just felt, well, first of all, I was thrilled to be asked to begin with. I mean, Boulogne-sur-Mer was fantastic. And I'd never sat on a jury that was so, that the competition was such a friendly environment. And that's, of course, thanks to you. And so that really struck me the first time. And I was so thrilled to be there. And then when you asked me to chair, I mean, I feel really honored. And of course, Eric Grunberg's shoes were so large to fill. I just thought, Gordon, are you sure you're really picking the right person? Because, you know, I don't have that kind of experience or stature or any of those things. And,
no,
and
I think you're being very modest. You've been absolutely a brilliant chair, and you've been great. Everybody loves you, I know.
Well, I've really enjoyed it, but that's, you know, it's because you create such an incredible environment. Really, it makes it, you make me look really good.
Hardly. But I think it's really important with the Menuhin. I mean, one reason of the extraordinary success over the years has been the construction of the jury, actually. We've had very unusual juries. The chemistry has been fantastic. I can't think of one competition since 2008 which hasn't been fantastic, in fact.
Well, that's also thanks to you. I mean, you're very good. You're not only a great musician, but you're a great psychologist. And I think you know how to profile people. It's not only a diverse group, but it's a group full of humanity. Right. And that's really, really important.
I don't have to pay you for saying this, do I?
Sure you do. Of course you do. But it's really true.
It's been great getting sort of younger jury members like Maxime Vengerov for the first time, Ray Chen for the first time, Renaud Capuçon, and many, many great people and unusual people. I mean, pianists, conductors, cellists. I think that sort of mix makes it really interesting for a jury.
Well, that's also unique. I mean, that you have an interloper, I think is really essential. Yeah. That it's not only violin-minded people. And also, to your credit, you don't have a lot of teachers.
I don't. I try not to on purpose, actually.
And that's crucial. I really think that's crucial to the fairness of the process. And it's
interesting because in the competition, it's not perfect. It can't be. And Menuhin himself, when he was on the jury in the early years of the competition, because I was involved from the beginning as official pianist, he would often choose somebody. He would just actually come for the finals usually, and he would often choose somebody that the jury didn't choose as the first prize. And he would give his own president's prize, he would call it. And it was fascinating, that sort of element of it. So he really didn't want, in a funny way, want a competition, although it is, inevitably.
Right. I mean, and the other thing it seems that it has evolved into is, as we always say, it just feels more like a violin festival. I mean, it just feels like a celebration of the violin, not even of the violin, just of music in general. I mean, I think that that's the focus of the thing. And so that it doesn't feel cutthroat and it doesn't feel like a typical competition in that way.
I think the kids feel very much that, because for many of them, especially in the juniors, it's their first international competition. So you try to make it a really great experience for them, an educational one, and just they have a great time, really.
And I think they feel that they can contribute even if they don't pass to the next round. That's
absolutely. After that initial disappointment, they're actually thrilled to stay and learn from being there for the rest of the time.
Well, I've always joked that I'd like to be knocked out of the Menuhin competition because the rest of it is so much fun.
Yeah, and so but also because they get to play in master classes with you and with the whole jury, and you get to speak to them, that you can mentor them, and I think it makes for a great event, really.
Well, and they play throughout the community too. I mean, that's.
Well, I think we're the only competition that I insist on everybody that comes to the competition actually gets a concert opportunity to perform. Because
yes,
and it's all about performance communication, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and mostly people leave after they're done if they don't advance, and so there are great advantages to not passing to the next round in the competition.
Anyway, we could talk all night, I think, but we better go on, yeah? Okay. So what we're going to concentrate on is the 2014 Austin senior competition, the semi-final round, which was really pretty extraordinary. I mean, I can still remember performances that happened then, as I'm sure you do.
So do I. You know what I really remember? I remember thinking, uh-oh, oh no, what are we going to do? You know, because it's always difficult to cut down. But that year, I remember thinking, are we going to have to change the rules or something to allow more people into the finals? That's what I remember the most.
Right. And we couldn't because of contractual arrangements with the orchestra and things like that.
That's so rare. That's never happened to me where I thought, oh my gosh, I really cannot decide whom to advance.
So should we watch some? So
Sure.
I think we're going to start off with In Mo Yang, who after, of course, the competition, Menuhin always said it's so difficult to judge a young competition because you don't know how the competitors are going to evolve, how they're going to develop. And of course, Inmo went on after Austin to winning first prize in the Paganini competition. So he's gone on to great things. So let's listen to some. I think we've got some music lined up here. Should we have a listen?
Sure.
So that was Inmo playing on Forme de Valse of Saint-Saëns. What did you think?
Well, I remember this also at the time, that it was just, Inmo so elegant. I mean,
that's the one word I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I mean, so refined and understated, but not too understated. You know, understate just enough understatement, and really just very mature, actually. And
I think he was just 19 then, I think, during the
amazing.
competition. Yeah.
But I remember that about everything that he played. His elegance. It was very, very. Yeah.
What I love too is that there's so much technical ease there, but you only feel there's music. You don't feel the technique in a sense.
Exactly. It was just serving his ideas instead of it never stood out on its own as something. It was just of his intention.
Sure.
Yeah.
What a start. It's funny to listen back to, I mean, in many of the competitions, after a while, after many years, I think, wow, this is really amazing playing for young kids.
Oh, and I remember, I mean, I feel this every time, but I remember in that semifinal just thinking, I cannot believe their age. I mean, I was listening as if they were adults, because instrumentally, there were just no challenges for anybody. And so I was just listening purely on the musical content.
Yeah.
And that's very rare for that age group.
Wow. Well, we better move on. Otherwise, we'll be here all night, I think. Next came up was Stephen Waarts. We're not going to say who won or the prizes, but since then, he's gone on to get a major prize at the Queen Elizabeth competition, has major management and a big career. So let's listen to a bit of Stephen. I'm not sure what we're going to hear, but here goes.
Okay.
So, Stephen, again, some fabulous playing.
Incredible. I mean, he was so polished, incredibly polished,
Mm-hmm.
and very intelligent playing.
Yes.
Very, very intelligent, thoughtful, and inner intensity, not in any kind of exhibitionist kind of a way.
Mm-hmm. I remember him too from Oslo 2010, where he got second prize in the juniors. It was the one competition you couldn't come to, you were supposed to, but the Icelandic volcano went off, and so you couldn't make it from the States. And he played there, I remember, an amazing performance of Chanson Poème. It was just breathtaking. He was about 12 or 13. I just couldn't believe the maturity. And it's so interesting with many of the kids, they come in the juniors and then a few years later, then, reapply in the senior section.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't have the advantage of hearing him twice, but I remember being really impressed by his thoughtfulness and as I said, that sort of inner fire.
And it's always interesting hearing them as juniors and coming back and seeing how much they've matured and developed, and with something really major to say, really, to speak to an audience, to communicate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was the other thing about this semifinal is that all the performances were so convincing. You don't have to agree with everything, but they were so committed and so authoritative. They were, really saying, I have something to say, and this is how this piece goes today.
Right. So the next up we're going to hear is Stephen Kim. Now, since Austin, again, he went on to win third prize at the Queen Elizabeth competition and is having a big career. I also remember in Austin, he played fantastic chamber music, actually, in that competition, which is one of my major introductions, that they have to perform some chamber music in the semifinals. So let's listen to a bit of Stephen Kim. So Pam, that's Stephen.
So that's old-fashioned, old world type playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really, really personal and really stylish, and you know, the slides and the timing. I mean,
Right, and the sound as well.
yes, that's like an old soul,
Mm-hmm.
harkening back to, you know, and the rubato, all of that. It's just yeah, he was an old soul trapped in a young body.
Hmm.
Great.
That's also what I loved. I mean, I love introducing the string quartet, and we have the Mirror Quartet, who are wonderful in Austin, and you really hear so much in the quartet playing, and I thought he was exceptional actually in the Haydn quartet that he played.
Yes, I remember that too. He's a musician's violinist. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
a real collaborator, and he listens really well.
Yep. No, I remember the quartet really liking him a lot, actually.
Yeah, yeah. God, this is fun.
This is really fun. We're going to move on. Next up is Timothy Chui, who didn't actually get in the final. I really like his playing a lot. I always have, because of course I'm chair of the pre-selection. I choose the 44 that come from 300 and odd, but I don't actually vote during the competition. So I have no influence on the jury whatsoever. But after Austin, he went on to win first prize in Hanover competition and second prize in Queen Elizabeth competition, and now has major management in New York. So he's also doing very well. So let's hear a little bit of Tim. So that was Timothy Chui.
Well, you talk about sound. I mean, that's the thing that strikes me the most, is that sound. I mean,
I remember it in the hall, actually, as sort of filling, absolutely filling the hall.
Say it was so noticeable that the amplitude of his sound and the richness of it. And I mean, it was huge, but never rough. It was always a great sound at all dynamics, but it was enormous. I mean, it really did fill the hall. And yeah, I mean,
I think what I felt then too, that there was enormous potential there which hadn't come out yet, which was going to come out, which then proved itself with Queen Elizabeth and Hanover later on, really.
Exactly. He was very green, but had so much stuff there that just needed to be honed a little bit more. But the raw materials were just amazing. And again, the facility, I mean, just no problem on the instrument whatsoever. But it was that sound at all decibel levels, the beauty of that sound.
It's interesting that the kids, I mean, the Menuhin is such a positive experience for them. They all want to help or come back. And in fact, Timmy's coming back to be one of the official collaborators in Richmond next May, to play with the kids in the Dvořák Terzetto. So I mean, it'd be really, really fun to have him around again.
That's nice. That's great.
Yeah. So maybe before we go on, I mean, what's one really fun aspect to me with the competition is, I think we're the only competition in the world that moves around the world, a bit like a traveling circus. And of course, it's a huge challenge and problematic for me and for the staff to put it on in a different one. But it becomes such a different event, Pam. You know, it reinvents itself.
Well, it's like the Olympics.
Yeah, it's been called that. But what I love is many competitions get a bit stale, I think, you know, happening every 4 years in the same place. Sure. By using the collaboration of the host city and the country, having its own input into the competition with new commissions, whatever, it really is almost like becomes a new event, actually.
Well, it does. It feels like, I mean, probably in the worst case for you, but for us, it's wonderful. It feels like starting over every time. And then, of course, a totally different flavor, either because of the language or the food or the scenery or the people themselves, the community, you know, and therefore the audience is totally different every time.
Right.
And that's thrilling.
I mean, it was interesting because in Texas, we did it in Austin, I think 2 or 3 weeks after South by Southwest, which is this massive festival, you know, with thousands, hundreds of thousands of people going from all over the country to it, really. And yet the Menuhin competition got the award at the end of the year as the best festival in Austin in that year. I mean, it got a lot of terrific press coverage, actually.
That's really saying something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something anyway, but Austin is a huge music town, music city.
Yeah, it's a very special city. So we'll move on. The next up is Christine Lim. Again, since then, she's done very well since the competition, and she's now a major member of the Philly Orchestra, the Philadelphia Orchestra, which is a great job to have. Because not everyone can go on to a major career. I mean, the competition has produced quartet players. Daishin Kashimoto, that won the first prize, is the concertmaster of the Berlin Phil, which is not bad, actually. and Christine, you know, joining Philadelphia is terrific. Fantastic. So let's listen to a bit of her playing from Austin 2014. So Pam, that was
Well,
15.
I thought her playing was hot, 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 hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what I loved about her playing is she went for it all the time. She had so much courage, and so much fire. And she never played one note like a wallflower. You know, she really went for everything. And that always impresses me. But she was on fire, certainly in that round.
Yeah, it was very big playing, very soloistic playing, wasn't
it? Yes.
Yeah. I remember also she played the new commission fabulously, the Black Eyed Susie piece by Donald Grantham. It was a great piece, actually, that the kids really enjoyed.
Yep. I remember that too. And she played with so much gumption.
Yeah.
That's that I would ascribe to her.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I should have checked the ages as we listened to them, because she's just 19. I mean, I think the youngest was 16 or something. I mean, it's pretty amazing playing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, if you didn't know that, you'd never guess these were kids.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, when you close your eyes, it's like listening to Perlman or something, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I have the advantage, I don't see them here in this forum here. I'm only hearing it, and
right.
Could be any recording artist.
Interesting. So we move on. Next up is William Hagen, the American, who again went on to win third prize at the Queen Elizabeth competition, which is absolutely terrific. So let's hear what he's going to play. So that was brilliant.
So much personality. It just comes screaming out of the machine here.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible authority and yeah, lots of ideas and the ability to execute them, and yeah, just really unique, you know, not cookie cutter in any way.
And again, a big soloistic talent, really.
Yes.
Yeah. And living on the edge sometimes, do you think?
Absolutely. He took a lot of chances,
mm-hmm.
and I would prefer to hear that over a careful performance any day.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you don't succeed when you take a chance, but it's definitely worth the risk.
Mm-hmm.
He played riskily, if that's a word.
So that's up to number 6 now. There's still one more, and yet the jury can only choose 4 people to get into the final. It's such an impossible thing to do.
I mean, I'm getting a stomachache all over again. I'm reliving this in the worst way, thinking,
people would want to know on the jury, what do you actually look for? What do you listen for?
I mean, of course, you listen for many things. You know, the obvious things are the voice. Do you have a unique voice? You know, are you saying something? And do you have the means? Do you have the instrumental means with which to execute your ideas? You know, so of course you can't really have one without the other. They have to be in sort of equal proportion. But you know, you listen to all of this, and they've all met those criteria that I just mentioned. So for me personally, in the end, it's what touches me the most. What do I remember the most at the end of the day, which I call the goosebump factor. Right. You know, if it puts hair on end, mm-hmm. that's my person. Right. Because this is a given that everybody plays so fantastically, mm-hmm. and has something to say, but it's the person for me that reaches my soul or my heart that's going to get my ultimate.
It's so fascinating, isn't it? You know, what different jury members listen for, want, whatever.
Sure.
Because as you said before, it's not a horse race. You can't decide, and if the competition was the next day, there could well be a different result.
Exactly. Now, I mean, I think it's who's going to affect me personally, you know, I mean, inside me, mm-hmm. because there's no question that everybody's fantastic. And yes, it's an imperfect situation. I mean, there's no way really to measure any of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, whom would you like to hear again?
Yeah. And it is fascinating. The kids sometimes go away disappointed in their juniors. I remember Ray Chen in London, 2004, he got 3rd prize in the junior. I loved his playing because I remember the sound, and I sort of gave him a lot of encouragement. And of course, he came back in 2008 in Cardiff and won 1st prize. And then the following year won 1st prize in Queen Elizabeth competition. So it's fascinating to see that sort of development and how it works in a sense then through the juniors. Yeah,
and then, but also I think it's crucial that none of the kids, if you want to call them kids, thinks that they have to do anything differently to their playing to do better next time.
Yes.
You know, they just have to keep on the path that they are and be true to themselves. And I have faith that the right people will be heard for the right reasons, mm-hmm. ultimately.
And it's fascinating how many entries the competition attracts now, because in the very first years, I think they received like 60, 65 applicants for the places. In Richmond, I think we have 321 apply for the 42 places. So you really get, you know, the best talents from all over the world really coming.
But that's also wonderful because that it shows that that the competition has established so much credibility. Mm-hmm. You know, people feel comfortable applying and comfortable coming because they know that it's going to be fair.
Right. And it's full of artistic integrity, I think, which is one of the main
for the right reasons. Yeah.
Because sometimes I think, oh God, it's so much work, you know, and you get there and it's nervous and things go wrong and whatever. Then you sit down and you hear these kids play and it just brings tears to your eyes. You just think, wow, this is what it's all about, you know.
Well, for you, that must be incredibly gratifying because the amount of work that goes into it. But I mean, I think what matters is that it stands for the right artistic values.
Yep.
And so it becomes an appealing thing to want to participate in.
Mm-hmm. So we'll go on to the last one in this particular program, is Ziu Victor Lee. Again, he's done incredibly well. He's now the Associate Concertmaster in the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and a really lovely kid. I think he was just 16 in the competition. Let's have a listen, and I'll look him up to find out exactly.
Okay.
So that was Victor Lee, Pam. He was actually 17. I looked him up because I remembered he was one of the youngest ones in the semi-final.
Well, that's another one whose sound is just so beautiful. I mean, so limpid, like liquid gold. And he had so much ease and already, you know, a lot of temperament for a kid that age. I just remember he wore his heart on his sleeve all the time. He just played by instinct.
Yeah. I just remember it being very beautiful playing. Young, maybe, because by his age, but just outstanding possibilities there, basically. Exactly. And really just the Rowley I thought was just terrific.
Yeah. That sound, gosh, yeah.
So that's the end of the 7. I mean, it's so much fun to talk to you as a friend and colleague, and I feel like we could go on all night, actually. You know, I'm not used to this format on Zoom, actually. It's the first time I've done it, so I was kind of nervous how it would go, and neither of us are really technophobes, should we say?
Well, I'm a techno idiot. I mean, I'm the original Luddite. It's amazing.
Well, I think I'm pretty close, actually. In fact, I think our spouses would probably agree with that.
Definitely. But this is fantastic to actually see you in real time.
It's wonderful. It really is. And it's just amazing to relive these kids. It's been so much fun choosing the programs and looking back from 2008, because there's sort of things you forget and then you remember within seconds when you hear them back.
I know this feels a little bit like time travel. I feel like I was absolutely transported to my seat in that hall. And as I said, I got the same stomach ache thinking how I'm going to vote for these people and that not everybody's going to win. I definitely relived that too, but such an incredible, just amazing level and just brings back so many nice memories of all the times with all those kids there too. We spent so much time away from the instruments all together.
Absolutely.
Really a family.
Many thanks. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed it at home to listen to this. There's so much to look forward to in the next 2 days. As I said, this is the first of many programs. It's sort of wall-to-wall coverage of the competitions on the Violin channel. And don't forget tonight that you're going to hear an amazing junior final from the last competition in Geneva, where the first time in the history of the competition, in fact, the first prize was shared. In fact, the standard was so incredibly high, instead of 5 in the final, we put 6 in because they were so amazing. And then the jury couldn't decide. So I said, why not let's give both the first prize, which is what happened. So that's on this evening. So bye from London.
Bye-bye.
From
Laguna Beach.
Okay, Laguna Beach. Lovely to see you, Pam.
Great to see you, Gordon. Bye.